105.9 The Bounce, Nation's home for urban vibes. And now, you're listening to Talk Back Natchitoches with Pastor Steve Harris. Good morning and welcome to Talk Back Natchitoches. Yours truly, Pastor Stephen Harris. And listen, we're going to get this party started. I want you to share, like, and invite Lottie Dottie and everybody. And we're going to begin, as we always do, with a word of prayer. Lord God, how we thank you and praise, glorify, magnify, and lift your name. For this is the day that you've made, and we're going to rejoice and be exceedingly glad in it. Oh, gracious Father, we ask that you would bless and look over the sick, the shed in, and the bereaved. Look over those who are without, bring them within. Lord, we pray that this segment will be informative, inspiring, and impactful. We pray all of these blessings in the awesome and matchless name of Jesus the Christ, we do pray. Amen and amen. Listen, want to remind us again that on November the 3rd is going to be the midterm election. One of the biggest things that's going to be on there is that of the Senate race. It's the 3rd, but before that, there will be early voting. Please get out and exercise your right to vote. There are a lot of things that have been going on, and the only way that we can change them is at the ballot box. Um, there was a man that wrote a book, and he talked about the fact that folks believe that Abraham Lincoln, through the Emancipation Proclamation, freed the slaves and things like that. But the white gentleman in his writing says no, slaves freed themselves because they refused to go and work for nothing anymore. They moved from the south to the north, and they were supposed to capture them and send them back. And the Union soldiers said, "We ain't finna do this because there's too many of them as it is. So we're not about to do that. It's just an exercise in futility, and we're not going to do it." These people had a mind to free themselves. They did that, just that. And so we thank God for people who recognize who you are. And that's what we have to recognize now. It was that you were chained through slavery, but now it is that you did all of the um, legislation that would put you in chains. Take off the physical chains and put on legislative chains, so that people can't vote, so that people can't uh, be a part of the process. Every time I pass the finish line, you take the finish line and move it farther and things like that. It takes you making up in your mind that you're going to vote. Women, listen. You you need to recognize that you are a target from the system as well, to try and keep you down, oppressed, depressed. And I want you to know, uh, take care of business at the ballot box. Don't have to tell women that too much, but again, take care of your business at the ballot box. I want to pray for that family who lost their 18-year-old son in Mississippi. Please, let's be in prayer for that family and any other family who's dealing with the loss or the transitioning of a loved one. I
think I saw something from a pillar in Campty. But before I say anything, I want to make sure about that. Um, I am waiting for my guests, and I know that they are on their way. Um, it's Miss Eliza. Yes, she's on her way, uh, and she'll be pulling up soon. But until she does, we're going to uh, just talk about the fact that I need you to vote. I was so pleased with Brother Roderick Johnson. We met our men ministry, men of valor and empowerment. We met last night, had a wonderful lesson that was taught by um, Brother Johnson. And also, we talked about the acronym that we have to become people that become uncomfortable again. We have become comfortable in just chilling, and we don't have time to chill anymore. We have to really be what God has called us to be. And so while we are, she bought a big thing of coffee. That's a big thing of coffee.
It's water.
That's what it is.
Nobody needs me to be more caffeinated than I already am.
Well, listen, just settle down, settle down. I know uh, you were on your way, and uh, the last time, first of all, welcome again.
Good morning, and I want to apologize to your audience and to both you and Tori for being late.
Yeah.
I left at 7:30. I got caught by a train, and then I took the wrong 8 mile loop and came all the way around that way, and I just got lost. Sorry.
Mr. Lisa, we just thank you for being here. That is a blessing. Last time you were here, we talked about your uh, uh, journey in being a cancer survivor and how it changed you, what how you found out about it, just a lot of different steps and a lot of different changes and things
Went
like that.
everywhere.
Yeah. But I want to I want to continue that conversation if
Yes,
we
sir.
can, if we can, and because I want to talk about life after cancer because a lot of people they go through it. Matter of fact, my condolences to one of my mother-in-law's co-worker who went through the chemo, went through the treatment. The treatment was so harsh, so much so that ultimately she beat cancer, but she succumbed to the treatment. I don't know, you know how how that plays in. You
So after going through it all,
know.
um, it's really easy to be, especially when the people around you are having despair
Mm.
and they're concerned. And there's what they put in you is chemical. I
Yeah.
mean, it's called chemotherapy. It is, if you and I ingested it, we would die.
Yeah, it's actually poison to kill things that shouldn't be in you.
Yes, sir.
But in doing so, it also can affect good things. It doesn't, it doesn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna just attack the bad things."
It does not wait, I know how to spell it, but
Differentiate.
that's it. Um, it's not, and that's the thing that happens with cancer
Mhm.
is that you still know things, you just can't always articulate them in.
Right,
Of
right.
course, my age too, see the gray hair. But also you know it and it's on the tip of your tongue and you cannot say it.
Yeah.
But again, I'll go back to the despair. And if you don't have, and I see your shirt has God on it.
Mhm.
If you don't have a higher power, mine is God. Um, I can see how you could, be consumed by that and lose faith.
Mm.
But as the Holy Bible says, through Him all things are possible.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I just gave it to God, like I had done many other times when, in this day and age, we all want to control everything.
right.
But when you get cancer, or you have a special needs child,
Mhm.
or your father dies, or your brother dies of ketoacidosis,
Mhm.
you don't. God's showing you who's in control, and He's not vengeful. He
Right.
just wants you to know that your path does not include always what you want.
Mm.
So, on that note, I was just really, really lucky. My cancer was textbook. Everything bad that was going to happen happened, and I was prepared for it because I did a ton of research.
And that's important. Knowledge is power.
Not knowledge, research, get your education, no matter how hard it is, get it, because you do not want to be 60 years old and whatever kind of education, whatever your passion is, be the best at it. Because without that, when you're 60 years old, you're going to say, oh, now what do I do?
Right.
So I was just so lucky. Textbook, I did all my research. My oncologist told me all the things that were going to happen. And every time one of the hurdles came up that were on my list, I just had already done the research, what I needed to do to make it less,
Yeah.
what did I needed to do to recuperate. And during those 6 months, and literally the 6 months after it, I did not put so much pressure on myself to be mom.
Mm.
My children were juniors and seniors in high school. That was tough because my son graduated. Everybody else is sending out graduation invitations and doing all these things. Well, my child got to participate in all that, and I got to be with him. But I didn't send graduation invitations.
Right.
We did photos in our yard, and they were gorgeous.
Oh.
But we didn't do like all of his friends and sending a million invitations out and getting all these presents. And I think I want to go back to God. My kids are Catholic. I'm Catholic.
Mhm.
And I think it was really a great lesson that when things are going hard in your life, what really matters.
Right.
It wasn't all the presents. It wasn't hey, show me, I'm the most important person. And by the way, he was the most important
Right.
person in my life at
Mhm.
that point. But he understood that I had to get well. And I was actively going through chemotherapy during that time.
Was it
So
ever a thought in your mind that I may not see my son?
not a second.
That's great.
Everybody kept
That's
saying, I know you want to see your grandchildren. I know you want to, this is what you have to think about. And all I could think about is I'm just trying to get through the next 30 days.
Yeah.
And I survived
Day
the
by
next 30
day
days.
by day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason I did 30 days is because, again, he was a senior in high school. So I wanted, everything's planned. Everything that's happening. So mine was, I get through this week, I'm going to take care of this. I get through this week, and I had a planner, and I wrote down everything I needed to do. And towards the end of all this, you are sleeping a lot. And your children are suffering, your husband is suffering, but they have well enough to know that I will feed into that.
Mhm.
And I surrounded myself with family and friends that wanted only the best.
So they didn't let you see
No, but they were concerned.
why, because I can just imagine that they were concerned, but it's that God piece too, though, that really gets you through that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the focus is to stay with my mind stayed on Him. Yeah,
And one of the things, and I may have said this last time, I don't ever pray for myself. I figure God knows what my plan is, and I need to trust in that.
right.
I'm really good about praying for other people that need prayers, and God has answered so many of our prayers. And um, I didn't pray for myself, but guess who did? The the Muslims that have a mosque here because their kids were going to school
Yes.
with my kids.
Yeah.
Or their kids were at the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
The Catholic, the Baptist church,
Yeah.
the Jewish temple in Alexandria was
Yeah.
praying for me. So that's another part of my journey is that all of a sudden I was looking at everyone and going, I don't know if my path's right, but according to our Bible,
Right.
we as Jesus said, we will get to heaven through Jesus
Right. Right.
and through his Father.
Right. Right.
And that's when I realized everybody has that same religion. We
Yeah.
all worship differently, and we may worship a different higher power, but those are the prayers that
Each
got
one
me
of
way off.
Each one of those religions that you just mentioned are from the loins of Abraham. So they all know Jehovah. They all know God.
Yes.
They may be different in how they get there. And they all recognize Jesus too.
Yes. Mhm.
Now, some of them don't recognize Jesus as the Messiah and things like that, but they will come to know him as the way, the truth, and the life. But it's like what you said, though. They talk to God on your behalf.
They did.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things I realized as I was feeling great
Mm,
versus feeling, oh God, can I get out of bed today?
yeah.
Was somebody, and I literally said it out loud to my husband. I said, somebody's been praying for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thoughts and prayers are fantastic because it really is what got me through. I know that Pastor Stephen, he likes to talk about God and Jesus a lot. So I love being able to do that too, because in my everyday life, I don't get to do that a lot. Because I believe in living the life rather than
Right.
putting something on my wall saying that I'm this way. I want you to look at me and say that's who
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
living the life.
Well,
So that was another reason why I'm alive,
yeah. Yeah.
because they prayed
Mm-hmm.
and I live my life that way.
Well, let me tell you, the West, a lot of time don't have it right because in the East, it ain't about who you talk about; it's who you show. It's the Christ. You see Christ in people. They don't talk about Christ in people. You see it, and so I can follow what I can see more than what me telling you the directions, and you're saying, okay, well, but if I show you the directions, you can get there better. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about many people assume life returns to normal after treatment, but what's your experience? We'll be right back.
Thank you. Sorry, we'll get look.
You have that caffeine.
I do have to have a little bit of caffeine. ADHD children, people drink caffeine so it calms us down. But I'm kind of, because and I saw a deer, and that was right after I talked to you, and I'm flying down this road. I'm going 60 miles an hour. And I saw a deer.
60. She was going 60.
And then all of a sudden I saw this over to I saw something, and a deer ran out in front of me, but he didn't go into front of my car. And I said, Alisa, that's your high power telling you life's too short, because what happened if that deer ran out and hit your car? Because it happens all the time. So I was really lucky that, but yes, so that was when I said, okay, and then I got lost. I didn't know how to turn down your road to get to your driveway. And I got out to 8 Mile Loop, and I'm like, I am lost. So I called Benita. So I thought it was in my ways, and it wasn't. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's
Louisiana.com. Real news.
Okay.
Real people. Real Louisiana.
And we are back, Miss Lisa. As I said, many people think that life returns to normal, but you've been there. Does it?
No.
No.
And you don't want it to. You've gone through this life-changing, life-affirming situation tragedy. In some cases, it's tragic for some families.
Mhm.
And I came out on the other side more jubilant, more happy, if you can believe that, because you knew me before.
Right, right.
But I came back anytime anyone asked me to do anything. Now, COVID was an anomaly. I kind of went into a shell during that time. I was very in my head, like a lot of us were.
Yeah.
But when I finally got out of my head 3 years ago, I just realized I'm not going to say no to anything. And I didn't say no to anything when uh, I got well, because I spent 6 months saying no to everything because I couldn't be around people.
Right.
Because if I caught something, it could kill me.
And this was this during COVID?
No,
Oh, okay,
No,
okay. Because
it
I was gonna
wasn't.
say, because COVID had everybody saying, "Hey, stay over there, stay over there."
Right.
You know?
It was 2017.
Yeah.
So, but COVID was
Oh
2021.
yeah, 2020,
20. So
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had just probably been a year out and was doing a ton back in the community and enjoying life. And then COVID happened. Also, my son started joining the military during that time
Oh, wow.
too. So, there was that part in my head being a little.
Yeah. I know the word.
So, but okay. So, life afterwards. Today, I do not say no to anything because I don't know when I'm not going to be here again.
Right,
But I
right.
kind of always have done that since the early 2000s. I was in a terrible car accident. I should not be alive
Mhm.
in April 15th, 2000. And that's when I said, okay, you've got a purpose for me. I see this. And every day, maybe it was my breast cancer journey. But I think one of the things that you talked to me last week that we didn't get to cover was, how do I feel today?
Yes.
And what's happening today with my body from the
Right.
therapy.
Right.
And this doesn't happen with everybody, but I'll give you mine, my honest opinion.
Mhm.
I would rather have what I have, and I'm going to tell you what I have, than to be dead.
Mm.
And so would everyone else in my family. And I think even Tori, who goes to class with me every Tuesday, kind of enjoys my
Oh, y'all got a
craziness.
Tuesday
Yes,
class, don't you?
yes. Um, and I ask all the questions, and Tori asked a lot of great questions. I just ask questions.
Yeah.
Um, and
Do you get answers?
I think almost always, but sometimes they are the politically correct answers, because there's not one answer for each situation.
Okay.
Because and I mean, honestly, think about the Bible and all the stories.
Right.
There's not one answer to all of our questions.
Right. There are rooms that we can color it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have to figure out.
It gives you the parameter,
Right.
and you don't draw outside the line.
Right. And that was the way we do is something that with law enforcement, and there is law, that this is the law, and that's the answer they
I'm
give us.
glad you're on because you'll see a whole lot of stuff that we think that should be just in black and white, that it ain't.
And it is
like,
not.
Yeah.
It is black and white and blue and red. So, and purple. I mean, it's every color.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about what my health is today. During COVID, one of the things that I did that was not healthy is, before I started my journey, I had started on this healthier lifestyle.
Mhm.
I cut refined sugar out of my life.
The best thing you could ever do.
And I agree. There's nothing wrong with sugar. It's just, for some people like me, it is just not a good thing.
Yeah, it's something wrong with processed sugar. It really is.
Well, I'm not going to say that, because all those wonderful sugar farmers that we have in South Louisiana.
Come on, give me the pure sugar cane.
Okay, I'll
There's
do
nothing
that. Okay,
wrong
I'll
with
do
that.
that. Okay.
Nothing wrong.
Okay.
It's actually a fruit. It's fructose, not glucose.
Okay, I'll go off on I went down our sugar. We'll have our sugar cane experience about how I grew up with sugar. Oh my God.
I
Okay.
love sugar
So,
cane.
anyway.
Okay, we'll stay focused.
So I cut all refined sugar out of my life, and that included pasta and things like that.
Yeah.
So when I was diagnosed, my doctor said that is the best diet for anyone on cancer. And I'm never going to put one of my patients on that, because you go through withdrawal just like you would from alcohol.
Yeah.
Because alcohol is made
Yeah,
from
yeah,
sugar,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
But
I,
just to save my life, doctor, go ahead and tell me, because I've never seen a doctor. You're right. I've never seen a doctor tell people about the worst thing that a cancer patient, no matter what type of cancer you got, the worst thing they can do is that processed sugar.
well,
Processed sugar.
because there are no, as my oncologist said, there are no published studies about it. And so it would be unethical for a doctor to tell him that.
Yeah.
That's not medically sound.
Mhm.
For all you out there,
Mhm.
do what your doctor says, not
Right.
what some politician tells you to do.
You calling me a politician now?
No, still board member, aren't you? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking, do what your doctor tells you to do.
Right.
And I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna go back to me instead of going on get on my thing. But my doctor says the best doctor thing you could do. So during COVID, I didn't stay on that track, and I gained 70, maybe 90 of the pounds of the 136 that I had lost with the no sugar. And that's because everything has sugar in it. And I read
And it's just like
every
craving. Yeah.
label.
It's just,
And
and it takes discipline.
you crave it. So if I have a fun size Snicker, just one of those today, I'm fine. I don't want it, I just because oh God, I just really wanted that. Thank you so much. Tomorrow I want another one. And that's all I can think about. It's addiction.
It
And
is.
that's not
It is.
that's a whole nother one.
That's the
But
truth.
so during COVID,
Thank you for telling the truth.
COVID, I just stopped taking care of myself. I was worried about my son. I was worried about our country. I still am. And I was just worried about the future of America and the kindness that used to be part of being Southern.
Oh yeah.
And so I internalized it. But 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I decided that was not going to be my life anymore.
You see what you're gonna say?
And I've always been the person that cannot keep her mouth shut, and I just say it. And my face says it all. There are Southern ladies who are very demure and don't show anything on their face. No, that's not me.
It's not you.
Yeah, and none of my siblings are the same way. We try, we really try, but we just can't help ourselves because we know, we want to do what's right. Okay, so go back to this. So today I suffer, and when I say suffer, I mean I'm not going to stay in bed for this.
Right.
I'm going to get up and you're just going to do it.
Yeah.
I have terrible rheumatoid arthritis in my feet.
Oh wow.
And I have medication that I found a rheumatologist in in Shreveport who's fabulous.
Yeah.
And so I do wear tennis shoes. I'm wearing
All it is buildup of mucus.
and
That's all it is.
It's from chemo
Yeah,
because no one in my family has rheumatoid arthritis. I have psoriatic arthritis, and that's normal. Lots of people get that, and I have osteoarthritis. Who doesn't? If you're a woman of a certain age, and you actually did all the menopause stuff.
Throw it back at him. Throw it back at him.
But it's okay. You can live through all that. And through diet and exercise. But I'm pretty sure the chemicals in my system were part of that. Also wearing high heels every day of my life.
Oh wow.
In fact, through all my pregnancies, I wore high heels and suits and pantyhose. We wore pantyhose back there. But there's that. There's also, I talked about chemo brain. You have it, and I just can never get the pronunciation right anymore.
Yeah.
My children brought it to my attention the year after. They would not have said anything while I was actively in chemotherapy and the 6 months afterwards. But a year after by the time I finished everything and I was a year out on my birthday, they could say, you're not quite there, but you're almost cured. They said, Mom, you're not understanding. You're not giving us the right words out of your mouth. We know what's going on there.
Right.
and I was not old enough at that point. This was 10 years ago, so I was 50. So I was not old enough to have those kind of um inadequate thoughts when I had been very articulate and able to say exactly what I needed to say and take a microphone and never worry about what I'm going to say because I knew what I was going to say. Right. Um, but that's the other thing. And then a lot of women don't get their hair back. I
But you're looking
I
forward.
was very lucky.
Mhm.
And that was, I think that's my mom in heaven.
Yeah,
Um,
you blessed.
the only thing my mom ever told me that she admired about me, because I reminded her of me, reminded her of herself, was that my hair was just glorious and it was glorious to God. And she
That's-
always said that.
That's the crown. Yeah, a
So,
woman's hair.
yeah, and they don't get their eyebrows back. Mine are tattooed on, but I still have
That's
that
what
there. Yeah. I still have more though. Yeah.
We're gonna take another break here, and when we come back, uh, we're gonna talk about survivorship and living life, and we'll be right back.
The
Yeah,
word I want to use is responsibility. So if you want to throw that in there, what do you feel like?
And Francis Funeral Home.
Like my responsibility is not to lay in bed anymore
right.
and feel sorry for
Hey,
myself. But
forward. Paying attention. If God left us here, then it's something He wants us to pay for.
We're proud to serve
And I think
and all surrounding
it is to
sections.
talk about
Cremation services
what you
serve
talk about
over
now,
1,198
how God has kept you, and where you're at now in life. And how much is that is due to what you've been through,
When the
you
time
know.
comes,
oh, definitely think not just cancer. I mean, just the. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
95.
I just was raised.
With heart.
I was raised with a lot of privilege,
Yeah.
and
District 6 Weight
I
Committee presents
didn't understand that until I started working in.
Jermaine
My
Hopkins,
son went to Weaver with your son, and I would be in the classroom. I spent a lot of time in the classroom.
powerful
Right.
Because they have this great program in Natchitoches where you have normal children and neurodivergent children, or children that are physically challenged
in Winfield. Tickets are
in the
just
same classroom, so they peer
$14
relate to them
Mhm.
as young as 3 years old. And I was lucky to get in that classroom with your son.
Right.
And by the way,
for tickets.
their son was normal, mine was not.
And we are back. You know, now God is giving you an opportunity to pay things forward. And you talked about while we was on the break, privileged and everything. Um, I believe that some of us could say, and people really thought that my family was privileged. I think my mom and dad just expected more, and they provided opportunities. There are some folks who don't have the opportunities that God put people like you, myself, Miss Freeman, in their lives to give them those opportunities. I was talking to a young man yesterday. He lost his father. He wasn't able to graduate because of the things that was going on with his father. Then during that time, at the same time, he lost his baby girl all in the same time. But there was a young man, and I'm gonna shout him out, Frank, Frank, who Taylor, who does air conditions and things. Frank mentored him. Frank had a heart for him because somebody was there for Frank. And so he wasn't born with a silver spoon, but this kid last night we introduced him to Christ as well. And just so many things happen at the right time, at the right place. Nothing just happens. It's all in God's plan. And the only thing I say many times is, God, what are you trying to tell me?
It's hard
Let me get the big
Yeah.
picture, Lord.
because we're so busy trying to get through to our next thing to check off our list to get done that we don't always hear what God or
Right.
has. And that's the key, is hearing it.
Hmm.
We may see what's around us, but one of the things going towards what you started with is that for me, I feel like there's a responsibility. Um, Now that he gave me, this is the second big chance that I should have died. People have died from a car accident I had, and then in this, and then I was in a terrible car accident when I was in high school. So and then I was in a terrible motorcycle accident. I mean, all these times I was hospitalized, and I should have. I mean, other people have passed away in the same exact circumstance. So God keeps giving me these chances. So, and I'm gonna go back to this word responsibility. The responsibility that I have is not to wallow in the pain or the suffering that I had, but to help and to give a voice as much as I can. And I don't have an advocacy the way you do and the way Tori does with your radio station here and here with your congregation. But I have a voice because I love everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm asking you to do something, and people do make a little fun of me because I do push people to do better, um,
And to be better.
and to be better.
Mhm.
But I think that's my responsibility. You know, I talked to you about having privilege, and we talked about how a family took care of y'all in Jonesville.
Mhm.
But I was raised for those who were that much was given, much is expected. It's not about hoarding what you have. It's about sharing God's bounty with you. And when I talk to people, I don't usually invoke God's name because not everybody has him as a higher
That's
power.
right.
We talked about that. But I do say, you know, the reason that you're here is from something that you have no control over. And you worked hard and you got here, but other people have worked just as hard and had just exactly the same things on their resume, and they're still middle. They have not gotten to the crowning achievements that you have. So it's important, whether the crowning achievement is that you've got all 10 of your kids or grandchildren to graduate from high school. Love that and talk to other people who are struggling with that. Get them a Frank Taylor, get them a family like your family had. Do what you can to help them. And I think that's my responsibility. The reason I took the class that Tori and I are taking is that I search for things. I want to know who I need to call when something happens. And that's my responsibility. I need to do better every day. I need to be better every day.
Right.
And then my community will be better.
Here's the question that I think we must all ask. Can God trust us with more? Can God trust us with more? And he wants to give us more. But we have to be true to our own self. With what we have, what are we doing with that?
So on that note,
Mhm.
look at all the Bible stories.
Mhm.
He and we grow up saying our plan is already done. I mean, he knows every hair on our head. He knows what we're going to choose, even though we have free will to
That's right.
choose that. But he knows what we're going to choose.
Right.
So he knows what the outcome is, and he continues to grace us with life and in America liberty. Um, but he knows what our choices are going to be because he expects more of us
Right.
because he made human beings and animals and the beauty that we have in the world. He made that for us, right?
Right.
So he expects us to protect it and to nurture it so it can flourish and be the best it can be. And for those of us who don't do that, and again, this is part of my responsibility,
Mhm.
for those of us who do not do that, maybe there's something missing in your life.
Mm.
Because if you truly are that Christian that politicians continue to say that they are,
Yeah,
they
that's
would never be doing the things that they do.
come on.
So go back to the responsibility of the Bible, even the Old Testament. You know, if everybody, I always talk about I'm a New Testament Christian because obviously that's where
Right.
where the line is drawn between
Yeah.
the politician Christian and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
leaser Christian.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but and well, y'all gonna get a lot of calls about this one.
No.
But it it's not my God is not a vengeful God. So why?
Yeah.
Because if you look in the world today, there's so many opportunities. And I've heard people say, if God is such a good God, why do people die? Why do we have wars? Because humans make that happen.
That's right. That's right.
God does not make that. I'm sorry, here I'm
Yeah,
preaching,
no.
but God does not make that happen, and that's my responsibility, and that's what life after cancer has been to me, and after COVID is realizing I have to advocate, even though my advocacy may be this big versus y'all's is this big with what you do for a living.
We all have it.
But it's
Right.
I can't sit back. I can't sit back anymore.
Right.
Who knows? I've always said, who knows how much ever since the accident in 2000, who knows how much longer I have.
Much time.
And
We don't have time in our hand. Eternity is gonna kick in one day.
oh gosh,
Yeah.
I hope that
Yeah.
eternity's better than
Yeah. I know it is. It has to be. If
they say heaven is, so that's what I'm hoping for.
We're gonna take another break and we'll be right back. Um, you know, I've heard a man, because we're big, especially people who say I'm a conservative Christian and all that. They talk about, well, some people believe in abortion, and they say they're pro-life. I said, well, hold on. There's difference between being an abortionist and a pro-life.
Well, there's a
you believe
difference
in
between
pro-life. Right.
pro-choice.
That's right.
And
Here's-
okay, you got
here's what
that's the word you got to make because I'm not an abortionist, but I believe in
But
choice.
see, I meant to say anti-abortionist.
Okay.
That's what they are.
Okay.
They're not pro-life, because
Oh yes.
if
Okay.
you were pro-life, you would be concerned about dropping bombs over in Gaza, killing all these
School children.
innocent folk.
Mhm.
And the person said, well, they brought that up on themselves because they are our enemies. I don't think so. And we're back. And we're back. So you talk about your responsibility and what God has ordained and said that He needed you to do, and if you don't fulfill that, you don't feel fulfilled. And so we must do what God tells us to do. But you know, surviving, you're one of the ones who survived, and you can look back and see others who didn't. So if we did, there's something more that God is expecting for us paying forward. So now God gives you a new assignment. And that assignment is dealing with children every day.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Everybody, look, I am grateful. I'm not in a classroom.
Right.
Teachers, you rock. Oh my gosh, you should be paid 1,000,000 times more than
Yes.
what you're being paid.
Yes.
And good people feel that way too because you
Right.
have raised our children.
Right.
You are the one raising our children because we're at work and they're with you 8 hours a day.
Right.
And the reason I never became a teacher was because I know that my classroom management would be terrible because I would
And
want to play,
that's probably classroom management is probably, I know it's at least 50% of educating these
oh, at
children.
least.
Yeah, yeah.
And not everybody's personality who would be a great teacher like me. I mean, I'm not, I mean, I, because I love it.
Smart.
But not everybody has that temperament or that, I don't have that skill and I tried. But I do have the skill to be able to help teachers. And that's what I do when you talk about being able to see kids. If I see them, it's usually because they're being checked out to go to a doctor's appointment or some tragedy. I mean, honestly, has happened in their family, or they're late to school. Um, and I'm going to tell you, a lot of us grew up, you know, your family business is your family business.
Right.
And I respect all of that. So I never ask a child to share their business.
Right.
But every once in a while, there's one that shares something that is so profound, good and bad, that I just know that I'm in the right place.
Right.
And your wife, Tawana Harris, who is our school social worker, has been amazing with anyone that I'm concerned with to go check in on them for me. And they're not on her radar because they've never asked for help.
Right. Right.
But when you're in that front office at Natchitoches
And
Central
you
High School,
observe that, you know, something's just not gelling, you know.
you feel it.
This shouldn't be. Uh, Especially when you have children who probably should be at school on time and thing, but this child has been late
Every day.
and you become concerned about it. And there are teachers who, many of them got so much stuff that they're doing that's not on their radar. But that kind of stuff stays on my radar.
It's and let me go back besides just that. 2 years ago, we had a senior who wasn't going to graduate because of being tardy to school. Because you have to have so many minutes with your booty in each one of your classes. And that first class, if you're missing those minutes, you're going to fail. Even if you have 100% on every test, done all your homework, you're going to fail because your booty has not been in that seat. And fortunately, I'm not going to say who it was, but fortunately, the last 2 weeks of school, he had to make up that time. And so he worked with me. And I was able to ask him, why are you always late? You know, because I would ask him, once you've asked him 10 times, you stop asking. But you do say, hey, I'm glad you're here. I do say, even if they're late, I'm like, you know, if it's habitual by the 10th time, you're just making them shame. You're just shaming them. So I'm done with that part of it. And I just want to say, hey, yeah, I start now encouraging them. I'm glad you're here. God, I like your, you know, if that's something that I find that's different, I like how you did your hair today. But this particular person, you know, he never shared with me, you know, why he was late every day.
Right.
Well, he came from under an underserved family.
Right.
Both of his parents worked full-time minimum wage jobs. And his grandmother worked full-time. So and again, that's not enough to live. Even in Natchitoches, where Natchitoches has everything is cheap here as far as our taxes, thank God, because I wouldn't live with that because my taxes are already, but even our taxes, our housing, everything is so much less than anywhere else.
Right.
But they all lived together and they all worked full time, more than 40 hours a week, always trying to find money.
Right.
So he had to take a job where he goes in at 4 o'clock in the morning and helps with horses and cows with a local farmer, not a relative, a local farmer who gave him a job.
Yeah.
So of course he was always late because he had to finish what he was doing.
That is important to them. I know education is important to us and you being there, but I think being able to understand this makes us say, okay, can we make an exception with this? You know,
We probably could have, but he never shared that with us.
Right.
And the exception,
a lot of them don't want to share it.
oh well,
Because
right. Well, I'm this.
right. Right.
And that's go back to your wife.
Mm-hmm.
I can refer them or ask Miss Tawana to please check in on them,
Right.
and she may be able to get a different story than they're going to tell me, and vice versa. Because we just have, I mean, we both our hearts are full. They
Right.
know who we are. And now after 3 years, they see who I am too,
Right.
and they
Well,
trust me.
here's another thing that goes on. You got more babies who got babies, both males and females. In our school system, I've mentioned this before, that I think we need to consider looking at different times for these kids who have children. They raising children. In places like Texas, they have different times that children can go to school that makes them where, I can take care of my child. Even we talked about even childcare within the system.
We used to have that. I don't know. I think it's called Right Start. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Yeah.
It was a federally funded program. I don't know why.
It's done good. We cut it out as
So-
far as the government is concerned.
But one of the things, and because you said that, I know who the young ladies are who may have a child in high school. I know who they are because physically they can't hide it. We have the school nurse is right there beside me, so I may notice them. But even if I notice it, if they don't tell me personally, I'll never say a word to anyone because it's none of my business, quite frankly.
Right.
And speaking of none of my business, I never know that there is a father
Mm-hmm.
or who the father of these children,
Right.
these new babies are, unless the student or a parent has told me. And that's the amazing thing about Natchitoches Central High School.
Mhm.
And maybe our whole school district. If it's not your business, it's not shared with anybody.
That's right. That's right.
And regardless of what people think,
And we
they kind of
we're
tight
le-
ship.
we're legally obligated for confidentiality. We know.
Okay, I hear you humming, but I'm going to tell you, you know that doesn't work everywhere.
No, it doesn't.
But I mean, I've been in,
Yeah.
I have been in enough jobs.
Yeah.
You know, it's paralegal.
Yeah.
You know, there's called a China wall or red wall where one
Mhm.
person is supposed to know what the other people are doing, but people just can't help themselves. They want to say maybe I'm hoping most of the time it's in good faith, but sometimes it's just gossip.
Yeah. And we
We've gotten off track.
look, we normally do that in church. We'll say things like now I'm told this, that, and the other.
Right.
You just gossip.
Right, you're just gossiping. So I don't have a solution for young ladies having babies and the father. This year's when I first experienced it, where the father was in the home with the young lady and her family taking care of the baby as well.
Mhm.
It's the first time I've experienced it.
And it happens a lot.
Where- and
now,
it was
because
somebody-
these guys, they are actually wanting to have a child, and don't have no kind of way of actually taking care of it,
Support.
except for some of them, they are pharmaceuticals.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm just saying.
No, I know. I just
Yeah.
and so I don't know what the answer is. What I do know is that if the school board knows that a student is pregnant,
Mhm.
and they know who the father is, and that's all, confidential.
Mhm.
There are ladies, because they're the ladies, and I don't know who it is today because that has changed recently, who oversee that and give them a break. But you know what else? Everything these teachers do today, I don't want to say everything. 95% of everything they do is on an iPad.
Oh yeah.
So almost everything they can do, it's in Google Classroom. So every student, if they miss a class, can go and find out what they did in that class and do their work. And the children, and they are children who have babies that are students, they can do that too. And a lot of our expectant mothers don't take leave literally until after they've had the child.
Mm,
Although by law, I think they can leave a little bit before that due to
Right.
medically medical concerns.
right.
Um,
I think we try to help link them with organizations like Women's Resource Center and things like that to help them.
who helps them after they're not babies? Okay, no, that's a whole nother story. We're gonna get on that another day. So,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing too, because I hear this from these people who talk about have the baby and things like that. But after the baby is born, most of them,
you and I can spend
yeah,
3 hours
yeah,
talking about the unfairness
yeah,
of that.
yeah.
But
You're not, you don't care nothing about
you don't care about people. You care about this is your pulpit.
agenda. This is an agenda,
And people are
and it's
people that are single.
it's hypocritical.
Yes. And I want to,
And it's at its best.
I'm
It's
going to say something
hypocritical.
terrible.
Don't say it.
I'm going to say something
but
terrible.
go ahead.
A lot of these politicians, and this is where I'm going to get in a lot of trouble because
Yeah.
it's going to be out there on the internet and I will not be able to take it back.
That's all
A
right.
lot of these politicians, these Christian politicians
Mhm.
who are, oh, I am anti-abortion, not pro-life, but anti-abortion.
Right?
Look back in their histories and see how many girlfriends,
They done took
baby, yes, exactly, took to the clinic, are their own children. It's okay for me, but not for thee.
that.
That is, and again, I am pro-life, but I'm also pro-choice.
That's right.
I don't believe they have there has any business
I'm
that
real
anybody needs to be
pleased.
talking about that except for mom,
Yeah. Yeah.
mom, the dad,
Right.
and maybe the parents.
I'm
and
like
the
I
doctor.
tell them, I'm real pro-life. I believe in the sanctity of life in the womb as well on the outside of the womb. And not just, I don't believe in killing babies. I nobody that I know, nobody that I know, and if you are using it as a form of contraceptive,
Nobody
shame
does that.
on you.
Nobody
Shame
does
on
that.
you.
There is no one in in the educated world, and when I talk about educated world, anyone who's made it to 8th grade
Right.
that has made good grades and has the mental capacity to understand what it means to raise a child. No one is using that as birth control. No one.
Right. I remember being told that we're gonna have if Obama becomes the president, the world's gonna be extinct because he's gonna make it where you can kill all the babies that you can. And
What?
we listen. I don't care what party you belong to. That's your business. But I just know that that ain't hunting no more.
It's never been
not
about.
hunting anymore.
It's never been about
Yeah.
him being president.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never been
We-
about
we-
what an amazing president he was. For people to still say he did not do things for people, that is just not true.
A husband didn't have a one wife. Don't have a
Raised 2 beautiful, successful children.
yeah.
Very high morals for all the whole family, who get slapped in the face every 5 seconds with some racist
But-
jackass. Sorry, can I say that? And even from, oh gosh, I get in trouble.
But here's the thing: they forget that he's half white too. He's just as white as he is black, and just as black as he is white.
But you know that doesn't matter if you have any color to your skin. That is, oh gosh, we really don't need to be talking about this because
No,
I love
this is
everybody.
this is my fault because I know if I pull her halfway into this conversation, she will talk.
So I'm
And
getting
you
trouble.
know what's on her mind.
But look, and this is stuff that I want to advocate for, but I think it's better for me doing it one-on-one
Yeah.
than to be all over the internet. Because I know who I'm true to, and if you know me,
Yeah.
you know who I'm true to.
Yeah.
I have not always, I talked about having privilege. I have not always understood.
Right.
But I had a sibling ask me, what is all this woke business? And woke had been going on, it was COVID time. Woke had been going on for about a year, and there were people being canceled and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were in a car, and I turned and looked at her and I said, people that are not you, her name,
Yeah.
want you to understand they've experienced
Right.
who don't
That's the
look like
only
you.
thing. That's the
That's
only
what
thing.
woke
That's
is.
all.
Well, that's not how it's explained. I said, well, where are you getting your explanations?
Well, the people who try to explain it are the ones who intentionally miscommunicate
Exactly
what
what it is.
woke is actually. We need you to be woke as it pertains to some of my white brothers and sisters have been misinformed on things, and I know they have because I know they're good people, but they just been misinformed on things.
That's
You know,
that is the reality and the cruelness of social media.
right?
Because social media only sends you things that you're going to agree with. It doesn't give you anything for critical
Critical thinking,
thinking
yeah,
skills.
yeah.
And I know that when they started teaching critical thinking to my children in elementary school and they were doing the rubrics, and I'm like, oh my God, how do you do this? But my children, whether I agree with them or not,
Yeah.
do know things
Right.
that
They do
and know
critical thinking.
and know what the outcome's going to be rather than just jumping in with both feet
Yeah.
because they were taught critical thinking.
Which
in
I'm
school.
telling you, we got to go back to critical thinking. We can't continue to create robots, and that's what's happening.
You're going to get me in trouble
yeah,
again.
right,
So
right,
let's go
yes.
back. I am just grateful to be alive. Thank you,
We got
Jesus.
Listen, y'all, again, my good friend is here with us, and we got to go. God bless you all. God keep you is my prayer. I love you, and you can't do nothing about it. Yes, indeed. We did it again.
I know, but look, Tori. And this is the other thing. I used to be able to. There's two things that I used to be able to
I
do.
feel still rolling now.
That's okay. I can do this. I used to be able to walk. I'm not saying anything. I used to be able to walk into a room and remember every person's name, whether it was 3 people
Yeah.
or 100 people. Remember every person's name, and something about them the next day. I used to be really good at that.
Right.
And the other thing that I used to be able to do is that when I had an argument, I could articulate it. We had really good friends we were in a supper club with, and he was a Navy SEAL, and we coached soccer together. So we hated each other's politics.
Right.
Hated.
But
We're screaming.
could dialogue.
Well, no, we would be like in each other's faces screaming. Well, all the wives are like, "Oh my God, he's going to hit her!" But no, to us it was hilarious. We were loving it because
Yeah.
we knew we loved or we liked each other.
Right.
After it was all over,
You love one another.
yeah. Well, he's not
might
that
not like-
person. He's not a lover. So
You may not like folk, but you
we
have to
love
love
that